All right, this is Sean Finter here. I'm at the home office today, sitting on my dock with my dog Crosby here. Say hi, Cros. If you're watching this video, my guess is that your business is stuck. You've got a bar or restaurant that you've got to 2 million or 4 million or 6 million, and it's flatlined or worse, it's starting to decline. So I'm going to share with you 18 years of consulting experience that came after 6 years or 6.5 years of ownership experience. So a quarter of a century here in as short a time as possible. I got about a dozen things, and I'm willing to bet I hit the one that's got your business stuck, and probably half a dozen of these things you're experiencing at the moment. So let's go. Number one, when you're looking at your business, we look at its current state versus its desired state, and then what is the obstacle? Right? That's got to be your question right now. What is the bottleneck in this business? I can tell you with most clients, I would say 7 out of 10 clients, maybe eight, the bottleneck is you, the owner of the business. It certainly was the case for me. When I looked at my own business in Sydney, I got it to $25 million across all of my stores. I wanted to get to 35. And the truth was, it was my fault. I didn't have the dedicated time to the right areas. I didn't have the talent to do what needed to be done. And I didn't have the tools. And I didn't know what I didn't know. So, I start here because ego can often be the worst enemy in business. And, you got to ask yourself, who could do this better than me? Or at least who could coach me through this? Ask the right questions, put together the right plan so that I can have an opportunity to develop this business. I'll say that a lot of us have a blind spot, or we're delusional. I think that no one could do better than us. And it's often not the case. In addition to that, it's often when you believe your team is better than it is. And instead of hiring strategically, bringing someone in, if you want to go from 3 million to 4.5 million, you're way better off with a manager who's done that before, who's loaded $2 million of revenue onto a business, rather than counting on the current GM that you have that's struggling to handle the current workload. How the hell are they going to take your business to the next level if they can't do what they're currently tripping over? And I'd say to that often owners or standards are just far too low. You don't see your business as the asset that it is and the potential that it has. If you think you have a $5 million opportunity, which you're being managed, your business is being managed by a $3 million team, there's your problem. Consider that. Are you the right person to be leading this forward? Do you have the right coaching, the right strategy to do so? Getting a little windy out here. Too windy. Let's just turn this out. There we go. Okay. Number two. Once you have the right person in place to drive your business forward, you need to look for the catalyst and then build a plan around that. Right? I see a lot of people writing plans, but you're starting from a standstill, and you've really got to figure out, what the catalyst is. I'm working with a client right now, and the focus is to literally double revenue in a business that's been around for decades. Right? So if you can get your revenue up by 20% or 100%, those are two very different approaches to business. I'm working with another client right now that wants to quadruple profits. We're currently at 5%, want to draw 20% from the business. Another client wants to dominate their space. And awards, that's not my thing, but I can help them do it. Right? There's a formula for everything. And in that, we have to look for bottlenecks, the springboards, and we have to develop a 36-month plan around that to get everyone doing the things they need on a daily basis. Okay. Number three, probably when you started your business, you had picked a niche, an ideal constituency that you were going to serve. For most businesses, 95% of businesses, that changes over time. Right? So your niche is now different. You've adapted, you've got a different clientele than you thought. You need to get laser focused on your core constituency. And most clients that I work with, we narrow it down to 3 constituencies. right? Your primary, your secondary, and then that third. And they all look a little similar, or they all look similar, but they all want something different, right? To be able, every business that I've owned, I have focused on having 500 raving fans, 500 people that drag their friends in, 500 people that talk about the business like it's, and you only do that by really identifying that niche and over delivering on their expectations every single visit. Now you have to do that at the cost of rubbing a few other niches the wrong way. Maybe having other niches hate you. That's fine with me, right? Not every business is for everybody. But it was once said that I don't know how to make everybody happy, but the fastest way to ensure that you make nobody happy is try to please everybody. So I worked for a couple of amazing entrepreneurs years ago, and they said, we operate our playbook and live our brand every single shift. 20% of the people that come through the doors are not going to like what we're doing. In fact, they might hate it. 60% of people will appreciate it. They're going to get good value for money. They're going to thank us on the way out. And 20% of people are going to be raving fans. They're going to be blown away by what we're doing. And the one partner said, I love those numbers. 20, 60, 20. When the rest of the market is trying to make everybody happy and they're wondering why nobody's happy, right? Pick your niche and drive hard. Okay. 4, your hospitality machine. Realize you've selected to go into business at one of the hardest businesses. 8 of 10 fail. Of the other 20%, a lot of them eke out a living, right? Who are the people that run away with the market? Those people that realize that you have 3 major elements to your business. Number 1 is the product. The product's got to be good. In fact, it should be excellent, right? Your customers expect, if you have a commercial kitchen and a commercial bar, oh my God, you should be able to make food and drinks. Secondly, the atmosphere has to be pleasing to the niche, right? A biker bar is different than a Michelin-starred restaurant, pleasing to the niche. But thirdly, hospitality is a feeling, right? Hospitality is the way a person feels about themselves while they're in your space. And getting a 25-year-old with very little induction training to be able to deliver on your brand of hospitality hundreds of times a night is why most businesses fail. You need a clear understanding of your brand. You need to select people that get high delivering your brand, not that see it as a pain in the ass. You need to hire people that love your customers and people that can deliver your playbooks over and over and over again. When you can do that, and then, you've got to design that experience. You've got to be able to induct staff and coach them consistently. And then you've got to be able to measure it ongoingly. 3 ways you measure. Number 1 is social media. I think it's the clumsiest, and often it's misleading, but it's important to keep an eye on. The complainers have a good place to complain, but you can get some good feedback from there. Second, and the most effective for measuring hospitality, is a net promoter score. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend your friends and family to our business? Only 9s and 10s are promoters. If I knew that when I was running a restaurant, I would have been a better operator. 7s and 8s are neutral. 6 and below are detractors of your business. But the third element is running a regular 2 to 3 time a week mystery shopper. Not a mystery shopper to figure out if your steaks cook properly or if your bathrooms are clean. That's what your venue management are for. A mystery shopper to understand your playbooks and report back on, are they being delivered on at each touch point in the business. Have them come through. They'll give you the feedback real time every week. You'll coach your staff. Those that won't get with the program got to go. And you will develop your hospitality machine. Number 5, if you are in a high turnover industry like we are, in an industry where we pay most of our people minimum wage, and most of our people do not want to work in this industry indefinitely, you need to be an HR specialist. You need to be able to attract the right person, not the best person, Best is usually a lazy term for experienced because you're too lazy to train and induct people, so you have someone else do it for you. But they've been trained on their brand of hospitality, not yours. So you want to become an expert in attracting, filtering, which is interviewing, inducting, and ongoing coaching of those staff. If you are not focused on that daily, if you don't have a program for each of those phases of human development, I promise you're missing out. And if it sounds like a lot of work to put in place, it is, but it's far less work than chasing your tail and having B and C players on a merry-go-round run through your business. Number 6, optimization. In the bar and restaurant industry, 80% of our revenue is taken during 20% of our hours of operation. So a mentor of mine once said to me, before you look to open up more businesses, milk the cows that you have, right? Look at those peak hours. Most bars and restaurants have between 10 and 15 peak hours a week. I have yet to come across a business where I can't improve dollars per hour. So your total output during peak hours by 20%. For most businesses, that doubles or triples their profitability. Yet most people get busy, shift their focus, and are worried about lunch, bingo night, live music, functions. Forget it. Get those 10 or 15 hours right. Continue to improve upon them and then focus on other things. You can't manage what you can't measure. So if you don't know what your revenue ceiling is right now, your dollars per staff member, who your top 20% is, your middle 60 and bottom 20, you're losing a lot of cash. Got to fix that. Number 7, I am blown away by how many stupid rules that I see when I go into new clients. You have a lot of stupid rules if you don't have any values, if you don't have any standards, right? Staff being told not to drink, to come to work on time, don't steal, right? That's like saying wear pants, breathe oxygen, right? Instead of all that, you could have a value that says respect the shift. That means every part of the shift, your teammates, the customers, the setup, the delivery, the breakdown, everything. Do it at a level of excellence or you're gone. And have a team hold a team accountable, right? Lots of stupid rules creates lots of stupid people. And they say, I didn't know any better, or you didn't tell me not to do that, right? Run a classy organization, high values, high principles, high standards. Number 8, your business manager on duty. And I prefer to call them your leader on duty. We had a principle. I had 8 bars and restaurants, and we had a simple principle: no fat jockeys. You've never been to a horse race and seen a fat jockey, right? Why would you do that? Why would you take a multi-million-dollar resource and put someone on it who doesn't take care of their own health? So why would you put a general or a manager on duty or a leader on duty on the floor of your restaurant who doesn't take the opportunity to be world-class, to take the business to the next level, to develop all the people in front of him or her, to connect with the guests, to smash the goals of the shift, to win every shift, to lead by example, to constantly demonstrate what excellence looks like? Your glass ceiling in your restaurant are the people running your restaurant during those 15 hours a week of prime time. If you don't have a leader on duty program, if they don't have 5 points that govern each and every shift, that they have to win the shift so that your GM can win their week, you're missing out. Number 9, most businesses that call me for help have attention deficit disorder, right? Shiny things, they're running all over the place. Instead of having targets and budgets, KPIs, a sharp weekly rhythm for their meetings and communication, problem solving if we're off course, time, money, space, resources, what do you need? People that are willing to let small fires burn, right? I always hear how busy people are, but I can walk across the street, someone's running a business with twice the revenue, 5 times the profit, and they're only half as busy, right? They're willing to let little fires burn, let people figure things out for themselves. Come back to me at the end of the shift. Come back to me tomorrow. Let's figure out how to do that. Your business has got to be focused and determined and focused on the big things that matter, that win the shift and that win the week. All right. Number 10. I'm going to go back to HR for a second and pick up that final piece of ongoing development because it's worth its own segment. If you are not a developer of talent and of human beings, you're missing out, right? I was once told by my boss when I was working in London, he came in unannounced, talked to 3 of my staff, asked them all the same questions and came over to me to offer his coaching. He said, I talked to 3 of your staff and I asked the host, a bartender, and a server, where they stand in the pack against all the other staff. Are they in the bottom 20%, middle 60, or top 20? Secondly, I asked them what guidance they had to improve. What 2 or 3 things do they need to do to improve to become better at their job? And then he said to me, it's unfair to schedule somebody and not give them the best shifts in a week and not give them a reason, right? If you're not in the top 20, you shouldn't have Friday, Saturday nights here. He said it's also unfair to, when people are counting on their tips, counting on certain hours a week to pay their rent, that you haven't helped them understand what they need to do to improve, to move up, right? That's fair. If you're running a meritocracy, people need to know where they stand and what they need to do to improve. And if you're not doing that as a leader, you are selling your people short. And what we started doing was every 16 weeks, letting them know where they stood. If you have 10 staff, you have the 2 best, the 2 weakest or newest, and the middle 60. And each of them, what they need to do to move up. And with us, if you were in the bottom 20 or in the middle 60, 3 reviews in a row, so a year in a row, it's up or out. And I'd rather let somebody go and be a B player or an A player down the road than be a C or a D player with us. If we've worked with you for a year and coached you and encouraged you to be better and given you the support that you need and you just cut it with this team, you're better to go somewhere else and be excellent down there. But we can't bring our standards down to a C level to accommodate, because I promise you, your bottom 20% left unchecked is far more influential than your top 20%. Why is that? The top 20% are unicorns, right? They were good before they got here. They're faster. They're this, they're that, whatever. The middle 60 only has to outperform the bottom 20 in order not to get fired, in order to keep getting the good shifts. Move that bottom 20 up or out, and you're going to have a different business. Number 11. Every business needs a hook. You need to be known for something. And if you go online right now and all the social media platforms and you don't see people talking about that thing with you, you probably don't have one, right? You're a commodity. And if you're a commodity in this industry, you're going to be out of business sooner or later. You just are. A hook is as easy as being new when you're new, right? People come and check you out. Being cheap. Some businesses have lower prices. They stay in business a long time. Smaller margins, but higher volumes. You could be remarkable to your niche, right? You could be doing things and making people feel a certain way. They just can't get anywhere else. It could be super reliable. You're the place that serves food till 3 a.m. every single time. Or I go in for breakfast and the breakfast is always the same. It's always really, really good. They never let me down. It's always on time. It could be that your staff are just unbelievable. I've had businesses that I had 3 or 4 staff that people came in for them, right? That's part of the equation, but it's a driver. When you opened, you probably had a hook, and I'm willing to bet it's got watered down over time or it's no longer a factor. And you've got to develop and install a new hook in your business and then drive the hell out of it. Make it work. Make sure it's meaningful to your core constituency and then make it work. And here's the final one, number 12. We are in a people business in a way that most businesses are. You think about our front of house staff, right? Not many businesses have somebody like a bartender who stocks shelves, cleans, does some minor repairs from time to time, washes dishes, takes orders, makes the product, interacts with the customers, provides the hospitality, handles the cash, make sure that people aren't intoxicated, make sure that they're comfortable, right? Like this is an all-in-one person. And if you want the best people, the right people for your business, but high quality people to come and work for you, you need to be worth working for, right? I have only had a few jobs in my life, but I have had 2 employers, both in the restaurant business, that fundamentally changed my life. I would not be on this dock living this life without those 2, right? Can the same be said for you and your team? And I mean, you don't have to be, a person that people are going to write books about in the future and everything else. You have to design a business that's going to make someone who works for you better off. So an exercise that I was asked to do years ago when I was a young manager, took a blank piece of paper and they said, write on the piece of paper, how would somebody describe you who worked in your care for 2 years or more in 20 years' time? And my first thought is, man, people might not remember me. I'm just doing my job. And then I thought a little bit deeper and I thought, man, they might think I'm a bit of a prick, that I'm pushy and a hard charger, and that's not always for everybody. And then he said, flip the paper over and say, how do you want to be remembered? If you made some changes, how would you like to be remembered? And I wanted to be a guy that's going to make people better, that's going to challenge them, that's going to challenge them to step into their better selves, to set bigger goals, to believe in themselves more, and to stack up a ton of evidence that they're worthy, right? So I started every person that worked for me getting their goals. A lot of people don't have goals. I said, write them down. I want to talk to you about them every trimester. Every 16 weeks, I want to go to lunch and talk about your goals. I insisted on development. We had no dead-end jobs, and you had to keep moving through the system. You had to cross-train, do something else. You had to attend training that had nothing to do with restaurants, but on finance and mental health and physical health and all these sorts of things, on traveling. We'd present 5 countries that you can go to really cheap and have the time of your life and so on and so forth. And I also developed at least 10 perks per position, right? So let's take my kitchen team. In Australia, a lot of my staff spoke Thai. So every other Thursday, we offered a language teacher to come in to teach conversational English. Plus, anyone who wanted it, I got them the audio program so they could study at home, 15, 20 minutes a day if they wanted to. Secondly, I bought them new boots on the anniversary of their work. Why? Because they didn't buy good boots for themselves. They'd rather spend that money on their kids. We had professional development. So every month I'd bring someone in and help my team, look at development. We had the cross training. So you'd work in the kitchen once a month, you'd work elsewhere in the business for a shift. So we had all these different aspects. We just asked them what was valuable to them. We saw what worked, what was valuable. And we developed a program to honor and respect our people. But what happened was people came in droves to work for us. How many restaurants are thinking about 10 things to take care of their staff with? And I can tell you, it felt good to do it. And it was a small investment for a massive return. People stayed longer. They gave us way more, the discretionary effort. They recruited their friends, right? We had almost no sick days. Like, it just makes sense. You take care of them, they take care of you. So those are 12 things that I struggle with, that a lot of my clients struggle with. I hope they're valuable to you. If you want any more information on any of these 12, I probably have a video, a document, something to help you out. And that's what I'm here to do. So I hope this was valuable, and have a wonderful day.